What do you do with the person that led the NFL in touchdown passes? What do you do with the person that your owner called the best leader at the quarterback position in franchise history? You start to make a budget because he's going to have the Brinks truck backed up for him.
Yeah, extending Dak Prescott would seem to be the logical thing to do. But we know in Dallas, logic doesn't always play a factor. You talk about all the leverage that Dak Prescott has. They can't tag him. He's got a no-trade clause. His cap number for next year is almost $60 million. So he has all the leverage in the world. Despite all of that, I need you to hear what Jerry Jones said yesterday at the Combine.
Dak has done nothing to change my mind of any promise for the future. I think I said in the deal that we'd go as far as Dak takes us in the playoffs. Remember that?
Right.
We'd go as far as Dak takes us.
Right. How you feel playing?
And that's how far we went.
Oh, right. So.
Okay, so my point is that doesn't change a thing.
Okay.
We'll go as far as Dak takes us.
Okay.
Was it
So
shot or compliment?
I misspoke. They're at the
was a bar.
Senior Bowl, not the Combine, but that's obviously not the lead here.
Stop acting like those ain't bars, Dom.
What?
They are bars.
What did he just say? What did he just say?
What he just did was open negotiations, right? Like they are going to talk about an extension this offseason. It remains to be seen if they get there, because we remember the last time it wasn't easy. But here's Jerry kind of putting it out there, like, all right, well, you want an extension, but we haven't really gone as far as we want to go with you. Maybe, so I think that's what this is. I think it's a first salvo in negotiation.
Okay, let me say this. Look, pan right here. There is no negotiation.
Yeah.
This dude has all the very rarely in your life are you going to get this much leverage. And Dak Prescott's got a $60 million number against their cap. No trade, no franchise, he going to do what he wants. What he needs to do is write a really big number on a piece of paper and hand it to Jerry and say, Jerry, let's get it done and then move on. Let's go sign other players, whatever else we got to do. That should be the negotiation if you're Dak Prescott.
If he's trying, I mean, it appears that Dan is right. The only thing that makes sense is that he's trying to create some sort of leverage. This is an awful way to create leverage because essentially what he's doing is like perpetuating this conversation that's kind of absurd, that Dak is not good enough, and that is not going to do anything but feed the fools within their fan base that are going to say this and put more and more pressure on Dak and make it more and more uncomfortable for your quarterback. You got a good quarterback. Pay that man.
Can I stop you for a moment there? The fools within their fan base are one thing. How about the fools within the family? Nick, lest we forget, this is coming from inside the house. We had Micah Parsons' brother. We had CeeDee Lamb's mother as recently as a week ago suggesting that he's
Parents,
not worth
dad, mom, everybody's in.
He's not worth all the money that Jeff says he's going to get.
And so this Jerry Jones's behavior right now and in previous contract negotiations are the reason why these people feel emboldened to say stuff like this. And whether Jerry Jones wants to win a championship or create a reality show, I'm not quite so sure. But this does not seem to be the most productive thing to do if you are trying to create a galvanized team that can win a championship around Dak Prescott. Just pay the man and tell everybody else, shut up, this is our guy. We came up short, but that doesn't mean that he's not our guy.
But he did the absolute opposite of that.
It's dumb. Yeah. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, but the point is, we always talk about things that make sense that don't make sense. But you guys know better than anyone because you sat there and negotiated with these owners individually.
With Jerry.
With that
with
one,
him
right.
in particular. These decisions get made by one person at a time. So it doesn't matter what you think, I think, or anyone else thinks makes sense. There has never been a moment, ever, where it has seemed like Jerry Jones thought, Dak Prescott is my guy forever. He's going to be a Cowboy for life. He's going to be Staubach. He's going to be Aikman. It has never felt that way, and that sounded like the opposite. If you get knocked out in the first round and I say we went as far as my quarterback took us, there's only one way to take that.
As someone who is sitting on this desk because I came from a literal Jerry Jones reality show, I can promise you, like, Jerry Jones is speaking every week to the media. He is saying something about Dak Prescott. He is saying something about Mike McCarthy, so on and so forth. But in the game of football, the game within the game is it is the owner's job to try to get you to take as little money as humanly possible. I don't care how great you are. You could be their son playing football on their team. Their job is to underpay you. And as a player, It is your job to try to get that ownership in that franchise to overpay for your services. And Dak Prescott has done everything he's needed to do exactly that. He has led the league in touchdown passes. He has that $60 million cap hit. He has every piece of the leverage. So all that Jerry Jones could do now is try to sway the court of public opinion on why this is going to be probably a little harder than they
That's where I
anticipate.
disagree with you. The job is not to try to get you to pay as little as possible. Your job is to create a culture and a team and a roster that can win the championship.
And I
think that there are some pennies that are not worth fighting over because the cost of fighting Dak Prescott over a couple $1 million here or there, which you're not going to get, is detrimental to your team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
and when I leave my tooth under my pillow, you know, there should be $10 when I wake up. And Santa Claus is real. And like all those things absolutely should be the case. But we're in reality, especially with Jerry Jones, because we know how he operates.
An owner and a general manager. And when you're wearing two hats, you got to do two different jobs.
Yep.
Right.
That's the problem. If you're trying to galvanize a team,
Great point.
That's where you do it from. When you're a general manager, you're trying to negotiate contracts. That is not where you're galvanizing the team. It's a private conversation. You can't have it in public, the court of public opinion like you're talking about.
Dan.
Yes.
Great point.
Tad Prescott, friend of the show. We know he's watching. And Tad, you know we're on your side. He said, if I could get Dak out of there, I would. Is there a world in which Dak Prescott, with all of this nonsense and 25 other teams that would love to have him, is there a world in which he uses that leverage to wind up somewhere else?
When?
You tell me.
Yeah, in 2025, yes, I do believe there is such a world where he ends up on a different team in 2025. Look, the fact that if Jerry Jones was a tooth fairy, he'd offer 6 and you were looking for 10, right? And he'd hope to settle at 8, right? So, like, he is negotiating. You say there's no, you guys know as well as anybody, everything's a negotiation to Jerry. So, the fact that Dak Prescott's salary is what it is, the fact that his cap number is what it is, the fact that he has a no trade, a no franchise, that tells you that the last time they did this, that Dak Prescott and his agent Todd France kicked their butts.
So, like, a challenge for a lot of NFL teams is it's a business that has 2 objectives. One is to make money, and the other is to win championships. Most of the time, those things are not in conflict. When those things are in conflict, you show your true colors by the decisions you make. And right now, those things are in conflict. And Jerry Jones seems to care more about, like, arguing Dak down than getting the team galvanized for the championship.
Why are teammates' families saying the things they're saying about Dak? No. But there are plenty of other quarterbacks out there that get paid a lot of money, whose teammates mumble and grumble about them all the time behind closed doors, and it does not come out this way.
Right.
The bottom line of it is there's something else going on
So
here.
I think that there is an us and a them. And normally, the us includes all the people, and we're like, hey, we can talk bad about our family in here, but nobody else outside. But Jerry, the way that he talks in the media, he divides up this team. And they feel like
Dak is them?
It feels like it sometimes, does it not? Like, it feels like they treat Dak like he is somehow different from everyone else. And Dallas is a different place. I hate it, but it works for him, I guess.
I think when you have the star on your helmet, this does come along with the territory. Tony Romo went through the same thing. And yes, we're going to zero in on the players, their families. You've been on teams where your family has talked about players like he's not good, he's not this. This is a part of NFL culture. But with the Cowboys, we are looking for Micah Parsons' family members and CeeDee Lamb's family members and so because it creates the headline.
It's also a unique time where everyone has the ability to make their words heard by
But it's not
everybody.
happening on other teams, though.
No, that's all right. We're going to come back to this. Jerry Jones is the gift that keeps on giving. Let me talk to you about Mike McCarthy, right? We know he's staying on as coach. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's had great regular season success in Dallas, 12 wins each of the last 3 years. They have the second best regular season record in the league in that time. Before that, he did great things with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He's been great with Dak Prescott, 3rd in completion percentage the last 3 years, led the league in touchdown passes last year. The postseason, though, is where the good times have stopped. McCarthy 1-3 with Dallas, the only win against a team that was under 500. So that's been a disappointment, but Jerry Jones still likes what he sees. Listen to this.
I thought we made a pretty good move 4 years ago when we hired Mike McCarthy. And he's had some great in-season success. Now, he's come up short 3 times and advanced us in the playoff. Okay? But I like the fact that he's hanging around the rim. And I like what the team has done to hang around the rim.
All right, so while he's got McCarthy in the low post, the thing that he actually, the part that he said to Yahoo Sports was not on camera. But he was asked about Bill Belichick, and he said, I know him personally and I like him. There's no doubt in my mind we could work together. None. Now, I know this isn't a good analogy, but we are all married men. And if at any point we were to say of any woman in the world, there's no doubt in my mind I could be married to her. None. Like, yeah, my wife and I.
Day of my marriage.
I like how
ass kicked.
Yeah, Stacey and I we're hanging around the rim. You know, it's been kind of nice. But
I hate when we do this.
But why do you hate when we do this? He just said there's no doubt in his mind he can work with Bill Belichick.
You don't have your wife's not on a contract with a year left on it. Like Mike McCarthy is.
That's my point.
Marriages are contracts legally, but whatever. You're right.
But Dan, I mean, the bottom line of it is that Mike McCarthy, he has a no compete clause, perhaps, but he doesn't have like any of that other stuff.
Oh no! Look, again, Jerry, show me what you think by what you do, not what you say. But what he's saying is interesting. He's had a lot of in-season success, right? He's come up short a few times. Mike McCarthy has 1 year left on his contract, and it does not sound like they're going to extend it. So what does that tell you? Mike, we like what you're doing. We think you're doing a good job. We do need more, though. If you show us more, then I think a new contract probably follows. If you don't, I can't make any promises. And I think that Jerry's being very honest about this in his comments.
Well, just because it's the truth doesn't mean you have to say it.
Well, but
and
it's
this
Jerry,
goes
though.
back to the original point that I made in the first segment. Is Jerry Jones seems to be having a difficulty balancing raising his franchise value, which he seems to believe is, which he's right about, is making your franchise interesting. Saying things that are interesting raises his franchise value. It does not improve his chances of winning. So saying to Yahoo on the side, oh yeah, I like Bill Belichick. How do you think that goes over in a locker room that you want to come together? So you want everyone to come around your coach. Normally you don't let a coach go into the final year of his contract because he looks like a lame duck. He's not only letting him go to the final year of his contract, he's also winking at Bill Belichick. Like, this is not the recipe for winning a championship. And then when they come up short, he's gonna push Dak out there like he does every time and say, we only win as far as Dak could take us. It's foolishness.
Never mind your defense gave up 6 yards of carry. They shoved it down your throat. Like, enjoy it. We'll take it. It's all Dak's fault. Like, I'm not saying Dak played great or played well, but come on. Like in totality, as a general manager, you haven't hit the mark either. You just can't fire yourself because you're the owner. But if we were looking at general managers, we would say, the middle of the defense was really weak. No run game. There's some things that we should have fixed that we didn't fix, but we're not going to blame ourselves. We're going to blame McCarthy and Dak. That's the two easiest places to stop.
You know, you make an interesting point there. The first thing you said sort of made me think about it. I don't know what the really popular reality shows on TV are anymore. Like, I know there was a time I knew what they were. There are a million of them, obviously. I don't know which one. The best reality show on television is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are and Michael Strahan kind of alluded to this on the postgame show on Fox, the day they lost, the day they lost to Green Bay. He said, Jerry Jones, let these guys be football players. They're treated differently, and you sort of were touching on this. They're treated differently than the players on the other 32 teams. They're treated like contestants on a reality. Are you going to marry him? Are you going to marry her? All that. Like, that's what happens in that town.
And are we supposed to believe that Bill Belichick would sign up for that? The person who won't give us information that we already know is fact. We can see it, and he does. But meanwhile,
if I'm Bill, that's the job I want.
Yeah. Of course.
It is. Because they're so of all the teams you might get, they're the closest.
But it doesn't matter because, to your point, the issue with the Cowboys is not on the field. The issue is the culture of the team. And when your owner is weekly radio shows talking about your quarterback and head coach, giving information, volunteering topics that weren't topics the week before, Bill Belichick's culture does not operate that way.
I disagree. I'm going to disagree with what you said. I don't think that's the reason they got blown out by Green Bay. I think the reason they got blown out by Green Bay is they have no running game and they got the ball run down their throat. I think that their culture, for however dysfunctional it is, and it is, actually that would show itself up, I would think, in the regular season. When they faced adversity this year, they came through it great. I don't think that is actually their problem.
Because when you work for or play for the Dallas Cowboys, there's no surprises about like how it works. Like, that's just Jerry. And Dak Prescott's been there, 8 years? He knows. He knows what he's supposed to pay attention to and what he can ignore that comes out of the owner's mouth. as well as anybody does. I think Mike McCarthy knows it too. He signed up with his eyes open, and this is what he gets. It comes with a lot of money. It comes with a lot of fame. It comes with a perpetual annual chance to compete in the playoffs.
Agreed.
But it comes with other stuff too.
I think to the culture point, it's not as simple as them getting the ball run on them. I think when you have the person who's in charge saying that the issue or intimating that the issue is the quarterback or the coach, the people who are the actual issues, you don't address it, they do not feel responsible to address that because no one is having that pressure on them.
Exactly.
And so you want to have the conversation about the stars because you want to raise your franchise value and you want to create Vanderpump Rules down in Dallas Cowboy land, but you're not concerned about actually addressing the things that are important to the team.
When you take each situation, each game, each year, each wild card playoff in isolation, yes, you need to stop the run. You need to be better in the pass game. When you take it in totality, those are symptoms of a greater problem over 8 years. It's the same in and over. I mean, the last 8 years of Dak's career.
And I say it this way. Howie Roseman takes all kinds of grief, right, for whatever it is, right? So, we're talking about hiring coaches, and good for him. But one thing he does do is make adjustments to help his team. Whether it's go get A.J. Brown, whether it's go get Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh middle of the season that they make a Super Bowl run. He is willing to make some take chances when all Jerry does is say, we draft good, we got the talent, we got this. No, you don't. Like, we can look at a roster and say, you are lacking in areas, you are flawed. And the problem is, when you're the owner, you don't want to see that because it reflects on you.
So they tried to get a defensive tackle to address the run in the draft this year. They went out and got Cooper. It's not that he is incapable of doing it, doesn't try to. He hasn't done it effectively. My issue with it is about accountability. We talk about cultures and how they win, and the most successful cultures are the ones that are accountable. And it does not feel like they are holding everyone accountable to the same degree. They want to talk about the people that are at the top. They're not holding themselves accountable. They're not holding all the other coaches accountable. They're not holding all the other players accountable to the degree that they hold Dak Prescott accountable. And that undermines Dak's position as a leader on the team. And we can continue to go year to year and talk about this is the problem, that's the problem. No, the problem is Jerry Jones is the producer on the most popular reality show in all of America and not necessarily as important as his job of running a championship organization.
And if you think about Bill Belichick, my point is, do you think he would want to sign up for that week in and week out, going in the media and having to answer questions about his owner and what his owner's thoughts are on his job as a head coach?
Yeah, because you know what he's going to say? Ask Jerry.
I feel like you can tolerate anything for a short enough period of time. Like if Bill Belichick only wants a couple of years to get 15 more wins, a chance to maybe win a Super Bowl.
And listen, Bill is as good as there is about saying when someone asks him a question about what someone else is saying, don't ask me.
That's true. He's very good at that.
Very good
He's
at that.
elite at pretending the question wasn't asked.
That's right.
Yeah, look, he's got an entire year to sit there and think about.
Well, maybe he's the only person.
Could I live with this?
That's right.
Because I do think that Jerry's personality is so big that it doesn't matter how Dak tries to lead the team or how Mike McCarthy tries to lead the team because they're led by Jerry. But if you bring in someone like Bill Belichick, when Jerry is saying these ridiculous things in the media, Bill Belichick might have the cachet and power to walk into that locker room and say, y'all don't listen to that buffoon. We are one team. This is what we're going to do. I don't care what he said. The problem is you can't get off the block. The problem is you're going behind guards when you need to attack the point of attack. The problem is when we only have the same answers for every blitz that Savage can predict it because this is what we do every time someone blitzes us. The problem is not Dak Prescott's performance.
So you're saying, like Mike McCarthy has the ability to go in that locker room and coach it well enough to get 11, 12 wins every year. But you're saying ultimately, when it comes down to it, they don't take him seriously because they know he's not the one with the power in the organization.
Yeah, you rephrased it like it was a question.
And Bill Belichick, no, because that's an interesting way to, because Bill Belichick, you think, would overcome that by the force of his own.
He has cachet and credibility that no one else in football has right now.
If nothing else, he also can X and O it. No one questions that, and that might be what they need as much as anything.